He thought he was invisible, hidden behind a screen name, a flimsy veil of anonymity. He thought he could threaten a woman, my friend, with her most private moments just because she said no. What he didn't know? I don't just know the law, I am the law. And in just 45 minutes I would unravel his entire life, piece by painstaking piece, and deliver a brand of justice so swift and severe, he wouldn't know what hit him. This isn't just about revenge. It's about what happens when a predator picks a fight with a lawyer. Get ready, because this is going to be a wild ride. If you've ever felt that chilling fear of vulnerability, if you've ever wanted to protect someone you love from a truly despicable act, then hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel and prepare yourself for a story of swift, undeniable justice that will make your blood pump and your spirit soar. My friend, let's call her Sarah, is one of the kindest, most trusting souls I know. She has a big heart, and sometimes that heart can lead her down paths where caution takes a back seat. We're talking early interactions, online connections, that fuzzy zone where you're trying to figure someone out. Sarah had met someone, a man she'd connected with online. He seemed charming enough, engaging, and in the way these things often go, some private, personal photos were exchanged. Nothing truly explicit, but intimate enough that they were meant only for two sets of eyes. She thought she could trust him. Reasonably. She really did. He wasn't from our country, but he'd mentioned he was traveling for work soon, heading our way. Plans were made to meet in person. Excitement, a little nervousness, all the usual feelings. But then a subtle shift. A red flag. Call it intuition, a gut feeling, or just a woman's innate radar for trouble. Something felt off. Sarah, being smart and self-aware, listened to that feeling. She decided to back out. Politely but firmly. She told him she wasn't comfortable proceeding with a meeting. And that's when the mask slipped. Charm evaporated, replaced by something vile and chilling. He didn't just accept her decision. He didn't just get upset. He retaliated. He threatened her. His message, cold and unfeeling, landed like a punch to the gut. When Sarah called me, her voice was a trembling whisper, laced with a fear that tore at my gut. I could hear the humiliation, the sheer terror of exposure in every choked word. My friend, my beautiful, trusting friend, reduced to this. My blood ran cold, then simmered with a quiet, burning rage. 'Cause you see, Sarah isn't just my friend. She's my client. And I, incidentally, am an attorney. The moment she finished speaking, a switch flipped inside me. The fear for her transformed into a laser-focused determination. My legal brain, honed by years of cutting through complexities, went into overdrive. This wasn't just a petty threat, this was extortion. This was revenge porn. And in the United States, especially when crossing state lines or threatening across borders, this was a federal crime. He thought he had anonymity? He thought he was untouchable? A fleeting online handle, a first name, a vague location, and a job type? To him, it was a shield. To me, it was a challenge. Puzzle to be solved. And I was about to show him exactly what happens when you threaten my client, my friend, with the very weapon of her vulnerability. First, I started with what little we had. His online handle. It was the digital breadcrumb. Some quick, methodical searching led me down the rabbit hole. From that online handle, I found a TikTok page. Not just any page, his TikTok page. And like a gift from the digital gods, that TikTok page had a link to an Instagram page. And there it was, his full name, staring back at me. No more anonymity. Now that I had a name, LinkedIn was the next logical step. And boom. A profile popped up that matched his name, his approximate location, and the type of work he did. And then the undeniable proof, a picture of him smiling smugly wearing a branded polo shirt. A polo shirt with his company's logo, the exact same logo as the one in a picture he had sent Sarah, proudly displaying his workplace. Pieces were falling into place, faster than he could ever imagine. But I wasn't done. Oh no. I was just getting warmed up. I delved deeper. With the company name in hand, finding their corporate contact information was elementary. A few more targeted searches and I had them, the email address of the CEO, the VP of HR, the operations manager, and the public relations manager. The heavy hitters. People who, when faced with a public relations nightmare, would act decisively. My fingers flew across the keyboard, a furious ballet of keystrokes. Click, each attached file a nail in his digital coffin. I drafted an email. This wasn't just an email, it was a carefully constructed legal missile, designed to detonate his career and his perceived invincibility. Here's what I included: screenshots of his explicit threats to publish Sarah's pictures. The words, his exact words, burned into the screen. Snippets of the conversation where he used that exact username in the same conversation where he sent the picture of himself in his company's branded apparel. Irrefutable proof of identity and association. Links to his social media profiles, the TikTok, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, all neatly laid out, proving how easily he could be identified. Pictures he had sent Sarah of his motorcycle, with the license plate clearly visible. More proof. More undeniable links to his real-world identity. But I wasn't just going for revenge porn. Oh no. This man had been careless. Stupidly, arrogantly careless. He had sent Sarah screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident, complete with timestamps. Information that was likely confidential. And, the cherry on top, pieces of dialogue where he casually discussed having sex with an ex-colleague at his place of work, and even plans to have sex with Sarah in his office. Sexual misconduct, potentially on company property. Tar's worst nightmare. And finally, a goldmine, a picture he sent Sarah trying to prove he was busy, which showed his work laptop screen. And on that screen, his entire Outlook calendar, revealing sensitive company meetings, project names, and other proprietary information. And even worse, other pictures he'd taken of his workplace, with non-consenting employees clearly visible in the background, violating privacy. I further informed his employer that I wasn't stopping there. Oh no. I would be forwarding all of this information, every screenshot, every identifying detail, every instance of misconduct, to local law enforcement in his country. And since he had so kindly indicated he would be traveling to the United States soon for work, I would also be forwarding this entire dossier to the local office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. 'Cause, as I stated clearly, since my client is a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, these threats constituted a federal crime. And then came the final undeniable threat, delivered with the full weight of my legal authority. Should they continue with his employment, and should they proceed with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I would ensure on behalf of my client that federal law enforcement would be waiting for him upon arrival. 'Cause, as it happens, one of the assistant U.S. attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. And he loves a clean-cut case of federal jurisdiction. And with his license plate number from the motorcycle picture, I knew where he lived. I would be contacting his local authorities the very next day. You dumb mother ******, thinking you were hiding behind anonymity. Thinking you could threaten my friend. Took me 45 minutes to destroy your life. Every layer of his perceived protection stripped away, every arrogant assumption shattered. And the satisfaction? Immeasurable. That email, that perfectly crafted, utterly devastating email, was sent. I didn't wait by my inbox. I didn't need to. I knew the seismic wave it would create. The ripple effect was immediate, undeniable. I imagined the panic in the executive offices, the frantic phone calls, the realization of the massive legal and PR nightmare this man had just dropped into their laps. They weren't just dealing with a disgruntled employee, they were dealing with a federal attorney representing a victim of a potential federal crime, armed with undeniable proof of his company's involvement through his actions on their time in their apparel with their proprietary information. Days later, I received an update. Not from the company directly, of course, they were likely scrambling to contain the fallout. But from my friend, Sarah. her voice no longer trembling but filled with a quiet relief, a dawning sense of safety. She heard through the grapevine, whispers filtering from mutual connections, that the man was gone. Not just moved but terminated. And the word was, it wasn't a quiet resignation. It was swift. Decisive. The threat was gone. His career likely in tatters. His plans to travel to the U.S.? Undoubtedly scuttled, lest he find himself greeted by federal agents. His anonymity, his perceived power, his arrogant sense of entitlement all obliterated. And the pictures? They never saw the light of day. Because when a predator thinks he can hide, and he tangles with a lawyer who makes justice her mission, the anonymity doesn't protect him. It just makes the fall that much harder. This isn't just a story about getting even, it's about standing up. It's about leveraging the tools at your disposal, whether it's legal knowledge, digital savvy, or just pure determination to protect those who are vulnerable. Anonymity on the internet can embolden some, but it provides no real sanctuary from consequences, especially when you target the wrong person. This story ignited a fire in your belly. If it made you feel the satisfying thrum of justice, then smash that like button right now. And in the comments below, tell me, what's the most ingenious or satisfying act of justice you've ever witnessed or had a hand in? Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of sweet, sweet payback. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and remember, karma always finds a way.